Shout out to Claritin for supporting this episode and providing us with samples. Listen, Nashville, Tennessee is in the most allergic spot for me on planet Earth. When I moved to Nashville, I developed the worst allergies ever. Luckily, for those of us who live with symptoms of allergies, we can live Claritin Clear with Claritin D. Designed for serious allergy sufferers, Claritin D has 2 powerful ingredients in just one pill that relieve your allergy symptoms and decongest your nose so that you can breathe better. This double action combination of prescription strength allergy medicine and the best decongestant available relieves sneezing, a runny nose, itchy and watery eyes, an itchy nose, and throat and sinus congestion and pressure with ease. I've been taking Claritin D for years, and I can finally get outside in Nashville, Tennessee, and enjoy the spring without sneezing my head off. Ready to live life as if you don't have allergies? It's time to live Claritin Clear. Fast and powerful relief is just a quick trip away. Find Claritin D at the pharmacy counter. Ask for Claritin D at your local pharmacy counter. You don't even need a prescription. Go to Claritin.com right now for a discount so you can live Claritin Clear. Use as directed.
It is June the 6th, 2024. This is episode 22 of the Carlos Whittaker podcast. Oh my gosh, we're back. I took a week off. Is everyone okay? Let's talk for a minute. Put the needle on the record and let it beat now. Did you hear how I kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? I expanded on what my normal rap is, as Dr. Delight is dropping the bass line right now. This is pretty sick. Feeling it. Hey guys, welcome to the Hey, I don't have to keep a secret anymore podcast. I'm grateful because that has been the hardest secret I've ever had to keep. It's been over 2 years since I knew what I was doing, but it's been a little under 2 years, a year and a half since I actually did it. You are listening to the episode where I get to talk about all the secrets that you want to know about with my next book, my new book that is coming out not too long, just in a few months. Reconnected. Reconnected. Let me tell you, let me read you the subtitle. I don't want to get it wrong. Reconnected, how 7 screen-free weeks. You heard that right. 7 screen-free weeks with monks and Amish farmers helped me recover the lost art of being human. Talk about a subtitle that is 50 times longer than the title, but I felt like I needed to let you guys know what exactly you were going to read in the book. That's right. I spent all of August, some of September, and maybe the last week of July of 2022, and I never looked at a single screen. Nope, never consumed from a screen. Now, listen, I know there's going to be like sticklers out there. You're going to be like, wait a second. How did you go through the airport to fly from the monks to the Amish without looking at a screen? Well, I just didn't look at, I saw them around me, but it's not like I stopped and since I got my brain scanned before and after to see what the results were, I was literally petrified to look at a screen. The entire flight from LA to Cleveland, Ohio, everyone's watching screens around me on the plane. I just have my head straight down reading my Bible because I'm just like, dear God, don't let me look at one. I don't want to mess my brain up. Some of you that don't follow me on Instagram have no idea what I'm talking about right now. My new book, Reconnected, comes out. If you look at the title of the book, on the cover of the book, this was something that, it's funny. I'd love to do a whole episode on how publishing works. And you've got your publishing team, and then you've got your personal team, and then conversations that are happening about the cover photo, and then the title, and then the subtitle, and everything on it. Like, all the things are very contested, not in a bad way, but every decision has to feel right to everybody. Ultimately, I think the feeling lands with me because I'm the author. So I'll push back as hard as I can. But ultimately, just a lot of conversations. And this was the first time, this is my 5th adult trade book. And this is the first time that I was as heavily involved, I think, in a lot of the conversations. This one just meant a lot to me. I put my life on hold for it. I poured a lot into this experiment. And on the cover, it says, Reconnected, and it scratched out disconnected. And that was one of the things that I really wanted. Because when I tell everybody that what I did was I didn't look at a screen for 7 weeks, and I lived with monks at a monastery and Amish farmers in Ohio. People immediately, the first thing people have told me the last 2 years really is like, oh my gosh, how was it when you disconnected? So you disconnected. How was it when you disconnected? And I was like, well, I mean, I know what you're trying to say, but I actually didn't disconnect. I feel like I actually reconnected. I literally reconnected. It's like we're actually disconnected now, even though we feel like we're more connected than we've ever been. We're actually more disconnected than we've ever been. And so suddenly when I was forced to have conversations in community around people where all I could do was look at their eyes and there was not one buzz or ding or ping in my pocket or my wrist, one single notification, nothing went off on my body for 7 weeks that would take my eyes away from the people that were right in front of me. I'm telling you what, it changed me. It changed me. And I think it's going to change you. The book comes out September 10th. I would love for every single Carlos Whittaker podcast listener to go right now to reconnectedbook.com. And it's got all the retailers there. I mean, you can order them from wherever you want. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Google Play, Apple Books, ChristianBook.com, Church Source, Faith Gateway, wherever they sell books. You can fill them out. And guess what? Excuse me, you can order it, pre-order it. Pre-ordering really, 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 really helps me. If you're one of those people that are like, Carlos, how can we help you? Of course, besides booking me to speak, which now I've got a whole other book to speak about, so much more content and research that honestly, I believe like this is the stuff right here. The last book, How to Human, that's a hard book to, for some people to digest because it's asking you to do hard things. Now, this people I think are automatically going to think I'm going to be talking about putting your phone down and not being on your phone. No, actually, that's not what the book's about. The problem's not the phone. And I learned this really quickly when I reconnected. Once you fall back in love with the things that you were created to fall in love with the ways to do relationship the way you were created to do relationship, with the ways to argue the way you're supposed to argue, with the ways to disagree, with the ways to commune, with the ways to eat, the ways to dine, all the ways we were created to live in community that have been taken away because the phone, when you fall back in love with it, the phone's not a problem anymore. My phone's not a problem anymore. I'm on my phone again. I love Instagram. I love all the things, but it's just no longer a problem. It's like I went to rehab for my phone, and I think I can help you guys. I'm like, how am I could talk for 50 days on this. There's so much to unpack. And so here's the deal. I'm not going to unpack everything in the book for you. Okay. So, I do want to read you the story behind the book. Okay. This is what we have, on my website. In the summer of 2022, best-selling author Carlos Whittaker, best-selling, Publishers Weekly best-selling, not New York Times, yet. We'll make that happen one day. Author Carlos Whittaker spent 7 weeks entirely screen-free, splitting his time between a monastery, an Amish farm, and home with his family, blending the inspiring stories of this experiment with practical guidance. I'm agreeing with this so far. Whittaker reveals how you can reset your relationship with screens and step into a life of real connection. Yes. It doesn't say how you can get rid of screens. Okay. I need everyone to understand screens are not bad. A screen is a screen. It's just a piece of glass. A rock's just a rock until you pick it up and bust someone's head with it. Then it's a weapon. But if it's just sitting there, it's just a rock. Same thing with phones. Not many people have the opportunity to spend weeks entirely devoid of phone and computer screens, but Whittaker's radical screen-free experiment yields hope and wisdom to everyone who has felt the loneliness, low-key despair, and paradoxical disconnectedness that accompanies the always-on, always plugged-in nature of modern life. Come on, somebody. It is the truth. And here's the thing. I mean, maybe you guys can send me somebody that's done this. I could not find another human being, not human being. Okay. There's human beings that aren't connected. Another one that is living in our, societal structure. Okay. So we work in cities or farms or whatever it is, that has disconnected themselves for this long. I couldn't find, I found a lot of books talking about the dangers of screens. I found a lot of books talking about like social media resets, which this is all great, or detoxes. All that stuff is great. But even when I delete social media apps, my phone is still legitimately always on me, always notifying me, always disconnecting me from true relationship. And I wanted to be completely disconnected from my phone so that I could reconnect with who I was created to be. So what I did on Instagram is I allowed you to ask me some questions yesterday. Oh no, is the question box gone? I hope it's not. Oh shoot. No, it's still here. Okay, good. It's 20 hours old. So I'm just going to go through. I mean, we've been at this for 10 minutes. I'm going to spend the next 20 minutes just going through some of your questions. Obviously, I'm not going to answer all your questions because I want you to read the book. Okay. And also knowing that, I don't know if I told everybody this, but on the podcast at least, that I got my brain scanned by neuroscientist Dr. Daniel Amen before my 7 weeks and after my 7 weeks. Because I was on my phone approximately 7 hours a day. Should I read you a little bit of the first chapter? I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to do that because I feel like also you can get the first chapter. Just so you know, you can get the first chapter sent to you like right now. Like if you go to reconnectedbook.com and you pre-order the book and you put your information in there on reconnectedbook.com, it will give you a link to the first chapter, the intro in the first chapter. Let me just read this to you. This whole dumb experiment began about a year ago with a single pop-up notification on my phone. The notification told me I had averaged 7 hours and 23 minutes a day on my phone that week. I put my thumb on the notification and almost swiped up like I did every week when I saw it, but something stopped me this time. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? This is a part of the book. Now I'm starting reading the book. You get that every Sunday, that screen time notification. You don't even want to look at it. Okay, back to the book. I hovered my thumb over the notification and stared at it. What does that mean? 7 hours and 23 minutes a day? Something inside me wanted to do some math. I hate math, but I wanted to do this math. The math could quite possibly take me down a road I honestly didn't want to travel. This math was probably going to make me do something stupid. Looking at the math could actually ruin my career. So I did the math. When I clicked the notification, it took me to screen time setting on my iPhone. Here goes. I opened my calculator and started entering numbers to see exactly how much of my daily human existence I spend staring at 7 inches of LCD. Okay, I spend 7-ish hours a day on my phone. I'm counting the 23 minutes as ish, so I don't have to do that much math. I felt like that seemed normal. I mean, I make my living on my phone. I share my life with all our zany family adventures, practically live for the world to see. I try to write thoughtful posts on Instagram to help people navigate difficult conversations. It's okay, right? 7 hours is okay. Then I started doing the real math. 7 hours a day for 7 days a week. What's that equal per week? The math told me I spend 49 hours every week looking at my phone. Now the math feels gross. I don't even need a calculator to do that math. 49 hours is 2 full days of each week. Not 2 work days. No, that's 2 full 24-hour cycles of life. 2 days in which a normal human being would wake up, eat, live, work, and then sleep for 8 hours. Yeah, 2 of those days. This wasn't a welcome realization. Should I keep going with the math? So I did. If I spend 49 hours a week on my phone, that means I spend 196 hours a month on my phone. 8 days a month. 8 full 24-hour cycles of life. That's 2,352 hours a year. Oh my gosh. I'm actually, as I'm reading this, I'm freaking out still. Or a little less than 100 days a year. And an average male in America lives until he's 73 years old. If I make it to 73, which I hope I will spend 7 of my remaining 25 years of life looking at a phone. That freaked me out. Okay, so that's I'm going to stop reading there. So that is what propelled me to do something drastic, because I actually wanted to see what I was going to feel like. Initially, it started off as an experiment about phones, But after 3 days of legit detox, panic attacks, night sweats, heart palpitations, all the things, my body was legitimately coming off of the drug of information. It was horrible. You'll read about it. Dr. Amen told me legitimately I was detoxing. It suddenly stopped being about a phone, and what I learned about connection and community. It's not like I'm lighting essential oils or anything like that, but she's definitely asking when she smells something, where'd you get that? Well, listen, introducing Aroma True, the state-of-the-art waterless atomizing diffuser that transforms essential oils into a fine mist without the need for water. Okay, so say goodbye to sticky messes and worries about mold or bacteria. Aroma True's innovative design efficiently disperses up to 4 oils at a time, allowing you to create your own custom fragrance blends with just the touch of a button. Now y'all can make up your own smells. How amazing is that? Not only does Aroma True make revolutionary diffusers, they're also dedicated to selling sustainably produced USDA certified organic or wild crafted essential oils, ensuring that you're breathing in only the purest, high quality fragrances. Here is the offer. Sign up for Aroma True's Insider Club today and you'll receive a free waterless oil diffuser and a free lemon eucalyptus oil. That's over $200 in savings. Head to aromatrueorganics.com/human hope to take advantage of this exclusive offer. That is aromatrueorganics.com/HUMANHOPE. Join Aroma True's Insider Club and scent your home organically. Americans spend an average of 90% of their time indoors and take about, get this, 20,000 breaths a day. The indoor air that we breathe is 2 to 5 times more polluted than the outdoor air, and in some cases, up to 100 times more polluted, according to the EPA. And did you know that air pollution is responsible for nearly 7 million premature deaths globally? So what in the world is the solution? Introducing an air purifier that captured the attentions of established media outlets such as CNN, Money, ABC, and more. And that air purifier is called Air Doctor. Air Doctor filters out 99.99% of dangerous contaminants so that your lungs don't have to. This includes pollutants such as allergens, pollen, pet dander, dust mites, mold spores, and even bacteria and viruses that make you sick. Here is the offer that I'm giving you. Air Doctor comes with a 30-day breathe easy money back guarantee. So if you don't love it, just send it back for a refund minus the shipping. Head to airdoctorpro.com and use promo code HUMANHOPE. You'll receive up to $300 off air purifiers. Exclusive to podcast customers, you will also receive a free 3-year warranty on, you can see on YouTube if you're watching, or Spotify. Let's just start from the top. Okay, so we're 15 minutes in now. I got 15 minutes left to answer some of your questions. Katie Mackey Lee asks, what was your favorite part, or what part was most life-giving of the 7 weeks? You know, that's hard to answer. On the front end, so the first 4 weeks I was not with my family. That was really hard. Really hard. All of my kids still lived at home at the time, and it was hard. So for the 2 weeks that I was at the monastery and the 2 weeks I was with the Amish, I got to see my family in the middle of those 4 weeks. Because one was in Southern California, one was in Ohio. I needed a ride to the airport, so Heather and the kids flew out so I could hang out with them for a day, and then they drove me to the airport. And yes, I got on an airplane from LAX to Cleveland, Ohio with a paper boarding pass. You know, they still give those things to you. It was actually the trippiest thing to travel without a phone, because we do everything. I'm a Delta Diamond. I got my Delta Diamond app. I'm changing my flight or my seats all the time. I'm looking at like how many of you actually, when you get on the airplane, legitimately will check your seat assignment at least 20 times from where you walked in past the gate all the way to the flight. Like, I just keep looking, even if I'm like 5 feet from the plane, I'm like, wait, was it 25 B or C? Can I tell you? That's because there's too much information in your head. Okay. Okay, so sorry, back to Katie's question. So I guess it was hard. There were definitely moments at the monastery that I loved once it clicked and I got it, and everything started bouncing back out in my brain, all the chemicals, all the things that were jacked. I really was enjoying. By the time Heather got there, like I understood the whole monk thing. Like I was like, I get it why these brothers are like hanging out here, like in this community, serendipitously living. Like it makes sense. You can see why it's a thing, but it doesn't make sense unless you kind of live it. So, I mean, I loved that. And with the Amish, I loved learning with the Amish. At the monastery, I felt like it was really a lot of silence and God time. And with the Amish, it was a lot of me learning about their life and why they do what they do. I love those things. Yeah. So Ellen asked, did Sohaila shoot the cover image? She did not. I'll have to put in the, Micah was his name, but I'll have to put his, website in my, in the show notes so that you guys can do that. Do Audible pre-orders count for the bonuses? Absolutely. So if you order on Audible, if you order Kindle, ebook, Audible book, paperback book, any of them count for the bonuses. And the bonuses, remember, you can get the first chapter, the intro and the first chapter, right now. If you pre-order the book, just go to reconnectedbook.com. Then there's 2 other bonuses that are coming that I listen. I know there's a lot of people that are like, this is the greatest thing ever. I'm telling you, I've never put more work into a bonus in my entire life. There may not be another human being that's put more work into a bonus. I can almost say that for sure. Now, I'm sure once the other bonuses are revealed, one of you is going to send me another individual that put as much work in, which is, I'll just give them a round of applause. But as far as I know of, one of the 2 other bonuses you guys are going to get, I've never heard of anybody doing it. So that's pretty cool. Okay, we're going to keep going. Did you have any contact with your family? Yes. So I would contact my family. I can't even remember. I think it was every other day, maybe every day. At least some semblance of, because remember, there was still devices that I could communicate. The goal wasn't to go crazy not talking to my family. The goal was not to consume from a screen. So there's different ways of doing that with the people that were around me. So that was very helpful. What prompted you to do a no screen hiatus? You just read it, or I just read it to you. This is a great question. Did you know the monks or the Millers before this? How did you get connected with them? That's a great question. So the monks, if you read the first chapter, you're going to realize that I was in the high desert of Southern California at a monastery called St. Andrew's Abbey. And it is in a small little part of California called Valiermo. And I think Valiermo is the town. I think the monastery is St. Andrew's Abbey. Anyway, my father-in-law, who I've never met because he passed away before I married my wife, he was very involved at this monastery, which then in turn, I won't give too much away here, but my wife kind of grew up there. And my wife actually is kind of homies with some of the older monks. And so Heather was my in to the monastery. I'll leave it at that. And then the Amish, definitely, you guys know, I mean, she's been on the podcast before. Leanne Miller, D, is her husband, and they are still richly, I say richly, I choose that word very specifically, richly connected with the Amish. He is former Amish and he is still in great relationship, I think his business partner is Amish. And so, yeah, they were our connection. And Miller, no relation to the Miller, at least as far as I know. I'm sure all the Millers are related in some way, shape, or form. But as far as I know, Leanne Miller is not related to Willis Miller, or D Miller is not related to Willis Miller. Maybe I'll find that out after Leanne listens to me, but I don't think so. Next question. Oh, this is a great question. I may put this on Instagram. I realize that this is a crucial aspect of who you are, but how faith-based is this book? It's a great question. It's as faith-based as I am on Instagram. It's as faith-based as I am on my podcast. It's as every single human being that I know has a problem with their connection to their screens. And so I wrote it in a way that anybody, it's the widest net I've ever cast as far as the target audience of who I'm writing for. So really anybody of any faith can read my book, as long as they're not offended of, if I bring up God, this book is actually less about, I would say, my book, Enter Wild and Kill a Spider is like, I'm talking about Holy Spirit and Jesus and the blood of the cross and the power of the resurrection. This book in screens, like, it didn't really go there. Not that my next book won't, but this book was written in a way that it's got a wide enough, top of the funnel that almost anybody's going to feel comfortable reading this. And I did it on purpose because I feel like I want everybody to be able to take something away from this book and not be, just kind of repelled from it. So, that's the answer to that question. When did this 7 weeks take place? Seems like you are never MIA. It may have been before you got here. So it was, I think I put my Instagram post up like July 26th, 2022. And I was like, deuces, see ya. I don't know how long I'm going to be gone. Cause at that point I didn't. So when I started this, I didn't know if this was going to be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Ended up being 7. And then I came back in September. So yeah, that's how long it was. Can this resonate with teens / Gen Z that are heavily influenced by screens? Absolutely. Honestly, like, I feel like the teens are going to be the one, are going to be the ones that are going to actually lead this charge. I feel like my generation, older millennials, Gen X, we're the problem one. We're the ones with the problem. I really do think. And I feel like Gen Z and Gen Z and, what's the gens that you talked about? Teens. Excuse me. It's going to be kind of like cigarettes. They're going to catch on a lot quicker than we are how bad this stuff is for our brains. But yes, I think teens could definitely, actually, I think they're going to love this book. But it's not written for teens, it's written for adults. 1, did you get someone to book your flights and get paper boarding pass? 2, did you read books? Okay, so yeah, I answered the first one. Yeah, well, I booked my flights before I started the thing. So booked my flights before that. And yeah, all I needed to go was with my wallet and an ID, and they gave me my boarding pass. And yes, I read books. And I actually, do I have the book behind me? Oh man, I think it's behind me somewhere. There's a couple books that I read that I put in my, it may have been a podcast from last year, like my summer reading list. Books were kind of like my Netflix, and I had to at one point early on in the experiment, not replace TV with books, because I started to realize what I do 1 or 2 nights in the evening when I was at the monastery. I just was like, I'm going crazy. So I would dive into a book. I'd lose myself in a book, and and then I woke up the next morning, I started reading it again, and I was like, wait a second. I feel like this is kind of against the point. They go, right, because phones aren't the problems. Book could be the problems. Books could be the problem. The problem is connection. What are we doing that is causing us to lose connection with others? I didn't want the book to get in the way. But yes, I read books throughout the whole time. I just wanted to make sure that I was keeping a check on it. These are great questions. That was from Sherry Switzer. Thanks, Sherry. It's a great question. Typical children's vitamins are basically candy in disguise, filled with 2 teaspoons of sugar, unhealthy chemicals, and all kinds of other gummy junk that your growing kids should never use. So that's why Haya was created. Haya! I love saying Haya. The pediatrician-approved superpowered chewable vitamin. So listen, Haya fills the most common gaps in modern children's diets to provide the full-body nourishment our kids need with a yummy taste that they love. Formulated with the help of nutritional experts, Haya is pressed with a blend of 12 organic fruits and veggies, then supercharged with 15 essential vitamins and minerals, including vitamin D, B12, C, zinc, folate, and many more to support our kids and help them grow into who they need to be. Also, it's non-GMO, it's vegan, dairy-free, allergy-free, and gelatin-free. It's nut-free and everything else free that you don't need your kids eating. Okay, so listen, we, the Whittakers, have loved using Haya in our home, and I know that you will too. So we've worked out a special deal with Haya for their best-selling children's vitamins. Receive 50% off your first order. That's huge. To claim this deal, you must go to hiyahealth.com/human hope. This deal is not available on the regular website. Go to hiyahealth.com/human hope and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults. A lot of people are asking if I didn't talk or see my family for the whole 7 weeks. I absolutely did. Y'all know what payphones and landlines are. And other people, there were moments where, I used a Mennonite's cell phone to call my family. Again, the point was not to consume content from a screen. The point wasn't to lose my mind. Do you think you'll make it a yearly thing, taking extended time away from screens? Yes, and I have. I can appreciate the value of social media detoxes and social media breaks, but I'm telling you, if you can, and I think you can, if you can, I would recommend to start with three days in a row, not 3 total days throughout the year, in a row where you are completely screen free. I'm actually going to create something at the beginning of 25 where I'm going to help you with this. Again, I feel like I am positioned in a way that I can help you like nobody else has because I've done it. And how can you do that for 3 days? Some of you may think that's impossible. Impossible. There's no way I can not look at the screen for 3 days because, gosh, I do everything on my phone. Guess what? You can prepare a way to take 3 days and never look at your phone. You can do it. I promise you. All you're doing is rewinding back to 1971. Not knowing where your kids are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week is possible. And dare I say it's actually healthy. Okay. I'm going to start preaching. I'm giving away too much of the book. So yes, I'm going to do it more often. And yes, I think that you need to do it. Start with 3 days. Start with one. We'll start with one. Figure out a way to not look at a screen. But if you can work your way up to 3 days, I think that is going to be a very, very healthy thing for your soul. 3 days a year in a row. Whole family. Do it. There are a couple of days that I had my whole entire family do it with me once I moved home because I was still off my phone for 3 weeks. Oh, man. There's just so much I want to say. And I can't wait for the book to come out so that I can really start unpacking some of the terrifying parts of this with you, because there were some very terrifying parts. Audiobook? Yes, but I haven't recorded it yet. That's why you can't find it on Audible, because I haven't spoken it. The most I've read the book is what you just heard at the beginning of the podcast. Where's the hat from? It's from the Amish hat store in Mount Hope, Ohio, which is where I lived. Will we get to see your brain scans? Absolutely. Little known fact, maybe I can talk about this here. So if you follow Dr. Amen on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, he's got a Scan My Brain. He scanned my brain. I don't actually know what it's called. Series. And I'm on it. Boom. So you're definitely going to see my brain scans. With no computer, did you journal during that time to then write the book? Oh, now you're getting somewhere. Yes. I'm just going to leave it right there. Yes. You're going to find out more later. I'm going to freaking love the next 6 months of my life. Because I'm going to love watching you live it with me. You guys just wait. Are there Amish farms my kids and I can go work on for 3 months? Like, can I Amish exchange for a summer? This is what I found out about the Amish. The Amish are not as arm's distance away as you think they are. They are very kind, very hospitable people. The Amish just need to know that they can trust you. And I would say that the Amish feel that, and the Carlos feels like he needs to know that he can trust you. Trust is a very big thing. The Amish have been, they've been, what's the word I'm looking for? They just have been put in a bad light. I feel like I had a lot of misconceptions about the Amish. And listen, I'm not saying Amish are perfect, but I'm saying I had a lot of misconceptions. And one of them is that, they weren't going to be hospitable and they weren't going to welcome me in. And can you imagine a bald, black, tattooed man living deep in the heart of Amish country being accepted by every single Amish person he ran across? even though some of them may have had some biases. Yeah, it was amazing. I have fallen in love, not only with the Amish people, but with some of their practices and with some of their reasons behind their practices. More later. How did you stay connected with family and friends? Definitely didn't stay connected with friends, but I stayed connected with my family. I pre-ordered your book, but living in Europe can't do the second step. Oh, so here's the thing. If you guys don't live in the United States and you go into the form, it says that you need to put your state in there. Just make a state up. We're not checking that. We're checking our order numbers. So you can download the chapter no matter where you live. Do you feel everyone can learn from it even if they can't unplug for 7 weeks? Abso-freaking-lutely. Absolutely. Even as I'm writing my talk, my faith-based talk, so I'm going to do, I'm inviting myself to your churches, because I believe that our souls and psyche were not created to be connected the way they are. And I feel like I heard a lot from God on how we can reconnect with him through this in ways that you're probably not going to figure out unless you do what I did. So yes, you can definitely learn. I think you're going to be able to learn in a 30-minute message. I'm taking this talk to the corporate space as well. I honestly believe the more I look at even the way the monks practiced their business and the Amish practice their business, that there's so many ways that I think we can reconnect in business, reconnect with our clients, reconnect with each other in ways that that's going to propel your bottom line, propel your organization, propel the capacity of your employees. I just think that I was a week in and I thought, oh my gosh, every single human needs to apply this to their lives. So yeah, was that a strong enough answer? Someone asked, are women allowed with the monks? Absolutely. There's nuns that are working up in that monastery. The Amish wedding, was that related to your time working on the farm? Yes. Yes, it was. Would it be great for the whole family? Would love to do family audible drives with it. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, Tiffany. Yes, absolutely. There really is nothing in there. Now I'm going to read the audible version, in a month. I'm going in the studio. So when I read it again out loud, I'll keep, tiny ears in mind. And there's some wrestling. There's a lot of wrestling with God in it. There's a lot of wrestling with my beliefs. There's a lot of, when you get so silent and you get to a place where you're 23 hours a day of silence for 14 days and you can't get away from your own thoughts. And you can't just pick up your phone to scroll because that's like what you do when your mind's racing. When you can't do that, you and God have some heart to hearts. And so know that there is a lot of faith wrestle in it. But besides that, I think it's totally applicable. Okay. Someone told me that my photo feels very, very much like Darius Rucker. Hold, I want to be with you. Oh, this is a great question. Did you go because you were going to write a book, or you went here and then you wanted to write? I was going because I wanted to write a book about what I was going to do. Does that make sense? So I didn't go to write the book. I went to do the experiment, and then I journaled, and then I came back and I wrote about the experience. Somebody is saying, hey, look, I'm right next to Kristen Hanna. That's pretty cool. Is there something you miss about the time you spent there? Oh, so much. So much. Meals. I'll give this a little bit away. The average. Oh, this was actually on one of my podcasts, and oh my gosh, who was it? Dr. Dan Allender gave some statistic, and it's in the book, but basically how the average American meal has gone from, 45 minutes to 12 minutes. And I mean, you wonder why we can't connect with each other anymore. And I want to say it was even 50 years before the 45 minutes, it was like 90 minutes. What I miss are the meals, the long meals with no phones and people just wanting to talk and debate and laugh and love and eat with nowhere else to go. Oh, I missed it. That almost made me a little emotional. So, okay, I feel like I've given enough away to hopefully give you a little peek into Reconnected. I mean, there's a lot more questions as I'm scrolling through. Where can I pre-order? You guys go to reconnectedbook.com. Make sure you spell check connected. What was one thing screen related that you missed the most? Oh, that's a great question. Can I be honest? The thing that I missed the most was knowing how Nashville SC was doing and how the Falcons were doing during training camp. Like the amount of times I would ask a monk, hey, does anybody know if Nashville won yesterday? Like, I didn't know anything that was happening on planet Earth. Like, I didn't know anything. It was the craziest thing. All I knew was what was happening in my local community around me. I go into that. So, okay, hold on. Dr. Delight.